that's not the right angle. I'm so anxious for this. Like, is this even a good idea? I've got staff checking on me every 15 minutes. We're gonna come in and be like, what is she doing? This is like inpatient midlife crisis as a teenager. Hi, so it's been so requested that I either make some videos, make a YouTube. Yeah, it's been requested. So I thought, even though I've got my A-levels to do, probably isn't the best time. I've got a lot of spare time, essentially, because obviously right now I'm in hospital. Again, whether it's a good time to make a YouTube channel whilst I'm in hospital, I don't know, but I got some inspiration yesterday and I was like, do you know what, I'm going to do it, so I'm going to do it. I asked on my Instagram for some questions, or my tell, whatever people preferred. Just some questions like about anything and everything, because I thought I'd do a sort of general sort of Q&A to start with. Obviously a lot of them that come up were eating disorder related, which I was expecting, so we're going to roll with that. And then a lot of them were also like uni, future sort of education based. So I'm going to do sort of education, eating disorder, Q&A, and I've got a lot of questions, so what I've sort of done is split them into two groups, like eating disorder and education, and then I've sort of, what would you say the word is, like cut the questions down into other ones that were pretty much the same and whatever. So if I don't sound like I'm answering your question specifically, it's because I've sort of grouped the questions to get through it, if that makes sense. Okay, so apologies, this is not going to be great. It's the first time I've done this and I'm actually really anxious, but we're going to try and we're going to get through it. I'm going to do what I can do. If you don't like it, don't like it. If you do, great. So lighting's changed a bit because I'm having to film this in bits and bobs, because obviously like I'm in such a routine here, and lighting changes, timings, I've just woke up from a nap, like it's not going to be great for a while, but we'll roll with it. So first question is, what are my short and long term goals? And I think this ties into another frequent question I got, which was what is my uni situation and course. So I thought I'd explain all of it in one. So my short-term goals at the moment are obviously to get through my A-levels. They start on Tuesday. I'm very stressed, like I'm so stressed, and I don't feel like I'm doing much because I'm having to sort of be in such a routine here, and obviously right now recovery and my health and my treatment has to be my priority. I think I've accepted that now, like for years, and I'm 100% certain this is one of the biggest factors as to why I've had to come into hospital so much in such a short amount of time. I tend to be like school. I get discharged. The day after I'm discharged, I go back to school. Don't really think about myself or my eating or what is important for Paige, not Paige's education. So this time, especially with what's been going on and the fact that I've got an unconditional offer at uni, has sort of let me sit back and say, look, recovery is the most important, my health is the most important thing, my treatment has to come over my A-levels at the moment. You know, I know A-levels are a massive thing, and if I was watching this as me a few months ago, I would never have thought I'd say that sentence, that my health is more important than my A-levels. Still a bit uncomfortable to say, but yeah, that's how it is. So my short-term goals is just to get through them, do as well as I can do, study but not study too hard, and yeah, obviously another short-term goal as well is to progress a lot with my treatment. Now I've come out of, I'd say, a very sort of rocky, rough stage of my admission. I really want to progress forwards now, and I'm doing it, and it's really difficult, like so difficult, but I'm doing really well. Like, I went for my first snack out yesterday, which was incredible. There was no tears, no panic, it was just so normal. I am doing really well in a lot of areas, which I'll go into probably in an Instagram post. It's not probably for here, but yeah, so just to keep progressing on and building up my access and my time with my parents and working towards discharge, which fingers crossed is going to be July for my holiday. So that's my short-term goals. Long-term, I suppose it's sort of long-term, it's not, is to start my uni course in September. That also means moving out, which is insane. I mean, I don't feel like I've really spent much time at home anyway, because I've been in hospital quite a bit over the last like 2 years, I'd say. But obviously I still live at home, and I'm a very sort of home girl. You know, I'd never think I'd be moving out in September, like, or anytime soon. So that's crazy. But yeah, to move to uni, start my uni course, and I just want to be okay. Like, I want to continue with my recovery, and I want to travel and do things that I've deprived myself of doing for so long. Like, yeah, those are my main goals. Right, next question. I've got a list that I've like written them down on. I've written them all in such a random order, so I'm just gonna pick one. We'll try it. 3 things that I'm excited for when I reach a healthy weight. So this is a really hard one to answer, because obviously my head's going straight to, you think you're gonna hate it, it's gonna be a terrible experience. But I was looking at on my laptop the other day, I was looking through my photos that I'd uploaded from quite a few years back, and there was one when I come out of, well, not one, it was like a period of time when I come out of my first admission. So I was 16 at the time. It was the first time since I developed my eating disorder that they'd got me to a healthy weight. I did overshoot my weight quite a bit, my target weight, so it was a very distressful period. And I'm not going to say that I was okay. Eating disorder wise, I wasn't really okay, but I was at a healthy weight, and I can honestly say it was the happiest time I have had of all of my sort of teenager period. Like, without a doubt. I was going out with my best friends, I was partying, I had my prom, holidays with my parents, which is incredible. What else was I doing? I was doing loads, and I was so happy. So I'm so excited to be able to do those things and have the energy to do so. And I think as well, that's one. It is hard for me to think about, but I know it's going to be better, if that makes sense. So 2, I think it's sort of fitting in more. It's not that I don't fit in right now, but with my friends and being around people who are at healthy weights and are, I hate this word, no one's normal, but normal, it gets you down a lot, because you can't do things that they can do. You don't particularly look like them. I don't look like a teenager as such. If you look at me, like, slick back without all the covering up, I don't look like my age at all. And I can't do things that people my age can do because of that. So it's gonna, I think, looking older and looking my age is a big motivation. Trying on like adult clothes, and I don't know, there's just some, I don't know how to describe it, but I was looking at pictures of my friends and pictures of myself at a healthy weight, and seeing that they can be happy and that I was happy, it sort of makes me really excited. So yeah, that's 2. And 3, I think being allowed to start my uni course, because regardless of whether I do paramedicine or this other course, I have to be at a particular BMI, which is a healthy weight, and I have to be at a certain BMI to, which I said is healthy, to start it. So that's quite exciting, because I think to me, if I get there and I'm allowed to start my uni course in September at a healthy weight, I know I've worked really hard to get there, if that makes sense. Right, okay, question number 3. I have got loads. I might not be able to do all of them because I talk quite a bit. Okay, so, right. what does one-to-one mean and what is your experience on it? Touchy subject. I've had quite, I mean, I've just come off, before I explain, I've just come off one-to-one after pretty much 3 months of being on it. It's not my first time on it. I was on it before as well when I was here last summer. I was on it for a few weeks. Then when I was transferred back to Birmingham Priory, I was on it for a month. So I've had some experience. It essentially means that you have a staff member with you 24 hours a day. You have to constantly be in their eyesight. This can get up to a level 4 as well, which is a one-to-one arm's reach, which I've been put on for a short period of time. It's not nice at all. It's very sort of invasive. Dignity. You get over the fact that you haven't really got any. They watch you shower, they watch you go to the toilet, I know this is too much information, but reality, when I was first admitted, they had to watch me do my business into a jug, and they had to measure it or observe it and tell me what it was like. Hello?
You okay?
Yeah, I'm just on FaceTime, yeah.
Pardon?
I'm just on FaceTime to my friend.
I'll fix that, right. Let us know if you need anything.
Alright, thank you. Checks, for fuck's sake. Damn, I just want some peace. I'm so paranoid. Okay, they're gone. Okay, disruption over. Let's get back into it. So I've said what one-to-one means. Staff 24 hours a day. In our sight for everything. Like, everything. They're even with you when you sleep. And a lot of people ask me, when I first went on it and people on Instagram was like, so where do they sleep? Like, what do they do in the night? They have to sleep. Like, you've got to remember, in healthcare, people shift work, so it's like, you have like the day staff and then you have the night staff. Night staff are on nights because they don't sleep all night, they look after us on the night. And my one-to-one changed every single hour. Everyone thought I had a one-to-one all day and it's the same person. It's not. They rotate every single hour, which, thank God, because there's only so much time you can spend with one person and so much you can talk about or engage in. That would be stressful. Not just for me, for them as well. I bet they'd be like, oh, like, they'd be sick of me by like the second hour, because, if I'm in a mood, no chance am I talking to you. So it was like, yeah. In terms of like, what does it mean, reasons why you go on it, when I was first admitted, both times, it's been purely on a risk of physical health basis. That can be due to BMI, risk of heart attack, blood pressure, sudden death. There's a lot of physical health reasons as to why you'd go put on one-to-one. I know this isn't common for the typical one-to-one, because a lot of people are also confused about why people have in eating disorder units, because I think people think it's just sort of general mental health units. It's not. And it can be just for the same reasons as normal, it's the wrong word, general sort of mental health units, but it is a lot more based on physical health risk as well when it comes to like eating disorders. I was also on it for behavioural reasons, and a lot of people do get put on it for behavioural reasons, which isn't just like general behaviour. That can be eating disorder behaviours, whether that's I'm gonna put a trigger warning in the bio anyway, and like state that it's trigger anyway. So I am gonna talk about behaviours and stuff, not my personal ones, but reasons as to why. That can be exercise, pacing, which obviously comes under exercise, purging. Also other behaviours, sort of self-harm risk, because just because we've got eating disorders, as a lot of people know, it doesn't mean people don't struggle with other things that they need a lot more support with. Yeah, just essentially to keep you at as little of a risk as possible, and with a one-to-one they can quickly obviously intervene with that risk if it occurs. Also other things like, I think people sort of cover that, look, if people have tube feeds, then here you mainly kept on a one-to-one if you're on a tube feed, especially if you have behaviours around a tube, whether it's aspirating, pulling it out, etc. So yeah, I think that's one of the worst things about inpatient, because you know, my parents would visit, or my best friend, and someone had to watch and supervise that visit. Just because I'm with my parents, it doesn't mean that the staff can go away. I still have to be in their eyesight. So it did create quite a tension and awkward environment, which I hated. The first time my parents come to see me, I was in here for, I'd say, a month, because they work a lot. So I was in here already for a month, and I hadn't seen them. I hadn't seen my mum in 6 weeks because before I was admitted she was in hospital and I was in house arrest, so I couldn't go and see her. First time I'd seen her in 6 weeks, and I had a staff member literally like here, and it was so awkward and it was horrible. So yeah, I'm just glad that's over now. I've worked my backside off to get off that, and if you can avoid it, or you know, if you've been in that situation, I think you know that it's really not a nice thing to have to go through. Next question. Ooh, let's go on a more positive one. Ooh, what is my life goal? See, I find it really difficult to think of my life as a whole because I feel so young, and I think it's, you know, to state particular set goals that I have for the rest of my life just isn't something I've done yet. I have general ideas, like I want to travel loads. It's something I've become increasingly more sort of determined to do. I think being stuck in hospital, you sort of, and being like trapped indoors and not able to go outside, you sort of realise how much there is of the world to explore, and it has made me appreciate the outdoors and opportunities, like being able to jump on a plane and just go, like so much more. So that's something I am so set on doing. I'm supposed to be going to Thailand quite soon if I'm okay. When I've got my uncle married a Thai lady, so I've got a Thai auntie, and she wants me to go to Thailand with her for 6 weeks. So that's sort of starting that journey. Obviously I want to do independent travel as well. Complete my uni course and just carry on with a good career, a stable career, and doing something I love. I used to be so much sort of set on, that makes sense, so set on like doing a career that got me money essentially, and that had a good title. I always wanted to be a doctor because I wanted to have the name of a doctor, whereas now I want to do something I'm gonna love, whether that's little pay, a decent wage, regardless. I just want to do something I enjoy, love, and won't get bored of. I want to be excited to go to work and have it as more as a passion than a job. So yeah, I think other little things as well. I'd like to have kids and have a stable relationship. And then for the rest of my life, I don't know. I just want to be happy. I think all I want right now is just to be happy and free, and that's enough for me right now. Like, without all the planning of the long-term future, just happiness, health, and positivity. Next question. What I wish people knew about anorexia. This is a good one. I could make a completely separate video about this, and it's sort of a reason why I'm writing my book. Obviously, if you don't know, I'm writing a book for Beat, which is so exciting. I haven't done much of it at the moment because obviously I'm doing my A-levels, but I'm getting there. Like, it's over 21,000 words long already, and I'm so proud of myself. I mean, I don't know, you know, the quality of it, but for me to stick at something and pretty much wrote already half a book, I'm dead proud of myself. But yeah, essentially that includes sort of things that I wish people knew about eating disorders and anorexia in particular, because obviously I struggle with anorexia. But I think the main sort of overall highlight is that it's not about the weight, it's not about the food. It's called an eating disorder because that's how I present and control what my eating disorder is really about. And I don't think this just goes for people who don't have eating disorders, this goes for the healthcare professionals. This goes for people with eating disorders too sometimes, because I think we're so fixated on our weight and our shape and restricting in the food that we actually forget that there's going to be another reason why we actually have eating disorders. They don't come around the majority of the time, and I'm pretty confident to say 99% of the time, they do not occur because you're unhappy with your shape. Something happens that's a lot deeper and a lot nastier and a lot more deep-rooted that causes you to engage in such a way. And I think that's one thing that I wish people knew, because then it would be so much easier to target. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. It's not. Hardest thing in the world to do, tackle an eating disorder, find out why it was caused, get to that problem. It ain't easy. But it'd be much, much easier if we started to find out and push towards the let's work out why this person wants to act like this, rather than say let's stop the person acting in that way, if that makes sense. So yeah, there is a lot more things that I wish people knew about anorexia, and as I said, I could do a completely different video, a different book on just that topic in general, because there are so many misconceptions, so many unknowns that people just wouldn't know about anorexia unless they had anorexia. So yeah, but I think that's the main one, is that it's not about the weight, it's never going to be about the weight, not about the food. We seem very fixated on it, and yes we are, but that it's not about that. It's just that's our way of presenting behaviour and thinking patterns to control the bigger issue. Okay, next. Okay, I'm going to do both of these together. What is your experience in adult EDU, and what is your experience on being on a section? Right, I'll start with the section, get that out of the way. This is my first time ever officially being on a section. It's difficult. I never ever wanted this. I never ever intended on getting sectioned. I was placed on it wasn't an official section, but I was placed, it was kind of like a CTO just before I came in to keep me in the house. They knew that I was going to get sectioned when I arrived here. The mental health team was already called in to do an assessment, which wasn't really much of an assessment because they were just like, this girl needs feeding, we're just going to sign the papers, we need to start the process now. It's very, very intense. I arrived through the door with my stepdad. They already had my one-to-one waiting for me. The clinic had already been set up for me to insert a tube once the papers had been signed. And I had no say. I had no, let me rationalise, let me compromise, let me have a say. My stepdad didn't have a say, he just had to hand me over. And one thing that I won't forget, which really, I mean, it hurt my stepdad, it hurt my mum, it really upset me, is they said, you are no longer your daughter's next of kin, I am. And that was the doctor, essentially saying, my parents have no rights over me anymore, they have got no say in what happens to me. And it's upsetting for me, like I'm upset talking about it, but my mum, when she found out on the phone, I remember talking to her, and the doctor has previously spoke to her that day, and she was just crying on the phone to me and saying, look, I can't help you, look, she can obviously support me and be there for me, which she's done more than ever before, but she can't help me, she can't have any say in my treatment. The doctor told her straight, I am your daughter's next of kin, I have the say in what happens to her. And it's that realisation of, I have no rights. If I refused or struggled with anything, it was put into me via a tube. I had no say, I couldn't refuse. If I refused, I was restrained. Which, you know, that happened a fair bit. It's really hard to talk about, because in one sense I'm really proud of myself, because that hasn't happened for about a week now, but for months, you know, the first few months while I was here, that was 6 times a day, and I didn't want it to happen. I really didn't want it to happen. You know, I said to them, if you just give me more time to just sit and think about it, and then let me try again, but they couldn't, because I'm under a section, and if it doesn't happen then, and if I don't do it then, they have to do it for me right there, right now. I'd walk out of the dining room and I'd have a team of people waiting behind we've got our dining room's like quite big doors, and they open, and when they knew, you know, they sort of predicted things were going to happen, there was a team of people who would hide behind the doors, and because I was generally last out of the dining room, I'd walk out and they'd straight away, it was grab my arms and take me straight to the clinic. you know, kicking, screaming, they didn't care. It's not a nice experience. Equally, I sort of realised by speaking to my lawyer and speaking to advocates that I do have some say. I am still a person. And now I'm engaging more in treatment, I'm realising that a section doesn't define me. It doesn't prevent me from progressing in my treatment. It doesn't stop me from having some say. You know, there's obviously rules and there's regulations, and even now, even though I'm come off the tube, if I refuse, you know, even 10 mils of water, the tube is inserted, whether it's under restraint, whatever, regardless, and it's put down me. I still haven't got that say. It's just because I'm working more towards preventing that. So it is hard, knowing that I'm essentially bound to hospital for 6 months and there's nothing I can do about it is terrifying, considering I don't want to be here 6 months. I've got goals, I've got aims. My section runs out on my birthday, which is bloody brilliant. Obviously I'm hoping to be off it by then. They can lift it. This is one thing people do not realise. People go, oh my god, you're on a section 3, you're in hospital for 6 months at least. It's not like that. If they believe you're well enough to come off a section, at the first opportunity they get, they will lift your section. It doesn't have to last for 6 months. I could have been on that section 3 for a week, and if she said, look, she doesn't need it, let's lift it. They don't want their patients to be on a section 3 or any section. It's a difficult process. If I want to go out, or if the doctor's, you know, even for my walks, the doctor granted me, I have 2 15-minute walks a day. That has to go on a piece of paper, which has to go to the mental health government committee to be signed, just so I can go outside for 2 times a day for 15 minutes. Everything has to be signed for, everything has to be a legal process. I have to sign papers to say I agree. If I don't sign them, you know, say I didn't sign the paper to say that I could have 2 15-minute ground walks, I would not be allowed outside the building. It's simple as that. It is intense, but as said, now I'm realising it doesn't take away my complete rights as a human. You do get a say if you're willing to work with them, but if they don't agree with your opinion or what you want, then that's just how it is. Okay, and last question. I'm sorry if I'm sounding like I'm rushing it. It's just, as I said, I'm getting checked, and it's getting really dark, and I don't want the lighting to be too bad. It's already bad, so forgive a girl. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, I like this one. Was I ashamed or confused at the age of 11 because of being so clueless about eating disorders and being around people who didn't understand or know about them? Yeah. But then again, I didn't know. I didn't know what I had. So, yes, I was clueless, but not, I can't say I was ashamed or confused. I was kind of confused about what was happening, but I wasn't ashamed because I never knew anything about eating disorders. I never heard of them, never knew they existed. It wasn't until I was about 13, 14 when I started understanding and first hearing of the word eating disorder or anorexia. I just was confused about why I couldn't do things or cope with things that my friends could, like they'd eat pizza and not have to feel like shit about it, and I couldn't understand it, and I didn't get why I made myself eat certain things, and the things they ate I knew I wasn't allowed, and it was confusing because I didn't understand why, and I didn't get why they wasn't like me too. So it was that it was hard, it was difficult to understand why. It wasn't embarrassment, it was just like I was 11, I don't understand, like, why can't I have X, Y and Z? I'm a kid, I want that sort of stuff. And it's like, well, if I have that, why do I feel like I have to do this in order to make it okay for me to have it? And I said, I didn't know what an eating disorder was. I didn't understand any concept of mental health. We did not get any sort of teachings of mental health in school when I was younger at all. I know it's got better now, and towards like the end of when I was at school, mental health was mentioned, but I mean, and up until I was about 16, nothing at all in school was mentioned about mental health, or we was never educated about it. and like eating disorders are not brought up, like they're not at all, and I think that's so bad because they're so common, especially during bloody school period, like hello, most intense time, but that's like a story for another day. So yeah, confusion definitely, ashamed, no, not until I started, not at age 11, when I started understanding eating disorders, and I just think when I started getting more symptoms, like the gross sort of not so great symptoms, I was ashamed and embarrassed. Yeah, I never felt ill enough. I think that's the problem with eating disorders. You can feel ashamed and embarrassed, and you can feel like, oh, I need to hide this, what I've got, like, but then you never feel ill enough, and you're constantly seeking validation, and you constantly wanting to show people that you're struggling. It's a difficult one, and I think that's why, like, having an eating disorder is one of them things that makes you want to bang your head against a brick wall multiple times a day, because you're just like, in one sort of mind, my head is here, where I don't want people to know I've got an eating disorder. I'm ashamed, I'm confused, I'm embarrassed, I hate it, I want to get rid of it. And then in the other hand, it's like, I want to show everyone that I've got an eating disorder, I want to be skinny, I want everyone to see that, and I want people to know that I'm struggling. And yeah, so yeah, I don't know if that answers that question, but it might. Okay, right, I'm gonna leave it there then, because I'm gonna play pool in a minute, and my battery's just come up like 10%, and sis, I got an iPhone, like 10% goes to 1% in a hot second, so this video might even just go black in a minute. Who knows? I know this was rough and very sort of scary, but it's my first video. I'm not great at this. I got the iMovie app on my phone, and I was just like, let's try it out. Don't know what I'm doing, I'm just pressing buttons, and I was like, oh, there's a sound effect here, let's click that in. It's gonna be scary, it's gonna be a mess, but I'm not doing this to just, you know, be an incredible sort of editor, YouTuber, whatever. I'm not that. I just wanted to engage with people more on a sort of personal level, because I put things on Instagram, and I think lately I've sort of realised, especially since I've got to tell, people assume a lot from words, and from, you know, they assume that I'm a certain way and my personality is a certain way, and often it's a negative opinion just because how I write things, what I post, how I answer things. And it's like, you don't see me in like sort of this sort of light. You don't see how I express things, how I speak, what I mean by when I, you know, I can talk about serious topics and I'm like, oh my god, you're such a bitch, you're such a bitch, you're so stuck up. And it's like, I'm typing, you can't hear my accent, you can't hear my expressions. Please don't hate me. Like, I like to think I'm an okay person. Like, I like to think I'm nice. I can be a bitch, like, hello, I'm a teenager, but I don't know, I just try to help people, and I think sometimes it can come across me being quite blunt, and it's like, I don't intend it to be that way. So hopefully by starting doing videos, yeah, you can just sort of get to know me for me a bit more. And yeah, so please, like, leave me some, even on my Instagram or my towel, something you'd like to see next, because I don't know what to do. I don't know how I'm going to continue. I want to, but I don't know if people will like this or not. We shall see. People might be like, oh my god, I don't know. Can you tell how anxious I am? Still going on. Okay, right, I'm going to ramble, so I'm going to go. Thank you so much for watching. If you have watched, well, obviously you have, if you're hearing me say this, because you can't hear me saying this about watching. You wouldn't think that So yeah, I'm gonna go off again. Right, okay, I'm gonna go before I ramble on about my state of mentality. Okay, so again, thank you for watching. Hopefully I'll do something again soon. Maybe not, well, I'll try and get another video in before my exams, or before my exams like really start like kicking in. But after that, I'm gonna take a bit of time to sort my shit out with my exams, and hopefully I can make this sort of my new hobby, because I have nothing to do for like months. So okay, Right, thank you again, and I'll see you soon. Bye.